What's up guys, Jacko here. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can replace the shock oil in the WL Toys 12428 upgraded shocks. As you can see, I'm doing this with the rear shocks, but it works pretty much exactly the same with the front shocks as well. So the things you're going to need for this tutorial is obviously some shock oil, which I bought this on eBay. It's a 700 weight shock oil. Pretty sure it's not 700, I think it's 70 weight shock oil. And I got this from eBay for I think like $15 or something, or $8, and it comes in a bottle of 60 mils of silicone based shock oil. So the next thing you're going to need is the shock itself. Now you can get this off the car by just 2 screws on the top and bottom of the shocks, which you can just unscrew with a screwdriver or whatever you want to use. And lastly but not least, you're going to want to have some paper towel handy, and you're going to want to have something to clean the shocks with. So I've just got a little bit more paper towel to the side and a bit of WD-40 to help get some of that grease off. And I've also got a Boston cleaner which helps clean some of the oil and dirt off of the shock itself. Alright, so the first step you want to do is take the spring off of the shock. Now you can do this by just pulling back on this sleeve here and hold the spring. As you can see, you can just pop it off through the little crack on there, and sometimes it's a bit tricky, but it should just come off like that, and then the spring should come right off like that. Now what you can do is you can set the spring aside. If you want, you can clean it a bit. I'm not going to do that because it's not that dirty. And you're going to want to clean this because if you can see, it is quite dirty on the bottom there, and on the inside it's quite dirty, and that can definitely make the shaft, as you can see, it makes it quite dirty, and it just builds up a lot of oil on this part, which just makes a big mess everywhere. So you're definitely going to want to clean this part. So what we want to do next is get a piece of paper towel. I've got some here, and you just want to tear a little bit off of it. I've just got a rectangle here. I might just make it a bit smaller, and as you can see, it's about this big, about as long as the shock. It doesn't really matter, and because mine's this big, I'm just going to fold it a few times, and then you just want to get some of the dirt that's on the shaft off of there. So just wipe all of this dirt off of there, and from around the bottom of where the O-ring goes, you want to get all in there, because there's a lot of dirt in there most of the time from when it compresses. All the dirt on the shaft goes up on here. Alright, so the next thing you want to do is get another small piece of paper towel, and then just fold it into a small rectangle like this. And then you want to get something that you can grab onto this and twist the end like this. As you can see, I've got a pair of my pliers here, which is great for this because I can put the shock in like this with the paper towel there, and I can grip onto it really tightly, and you just want to undo this part here. And the reason you want to get paper towel is because if you scratch the shock shaft, that can lead to it leaking out when it compresses, and you do not want that at all. As you can see, we've got this bottom part off. If you want, you can give this a bit of a clean. As you can see, mine's a little bit dirty around there, but I think I might leave it. I'm probably going to end up cleaning it anyways, because when on this part here, when you spin it, it's a bit gritty, so I might just pop that out and give it a bit of a wash. Right, so the next thing you want to do is, I would recommend getting another piece of paper towel folded in half, because there is going to be a lot of oil coming out of this shock. Well, there might be anyways. But what I like to do is, if it's got a threaded collar, just thread that down a little bit and then undo the cap like that. that. And then I will sit the cap upside down so some of that oil can drip out of there. As you can see, look how dirty that is. And it's all running down everywhere. And that would make quite a mess on your bench or wherever you're doing this. And what you can do is you can compress it like this and you can get a lot of it out, just like this. As you can see, there's quite a lot in there and it is quite dirty. And then what you want to do is you want to push it all the way through until the top comes out. Then you might want to get something like, I've just got a small Allen key here, which I can use to push that through. As you can see, this part comes out. Just want to pull it out and set it to the side. And look how dirty that is on my finger. You just want to wipe that on something. And then you've got the cap off here. You just want to wipe it around the thread, just on a piece of paper towel to clean that up a little bit. Now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get some either WD-40 or my Boston cleaning stuff, and I'm going to spray it all on the inside of there to get all of the oil and stuff out of there. But first what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my pliers and I'm going to undo this bottom cap here. You can see this just unscrews, and there's two little O-rings in there. I'm not going to wash this part, so that's fine, but I'm going to need to get this O-ring out from here just in case anything happens with the Boston cleaning stuff that might make anything go wrong with it or anything. You got to be careful with the rubber. So I've just got a little pin head here that you want to carefully pull it out like that. And try not to puncture it or anything, because that could lead to leakages and all that. So next what you want to do is go to a sink or somewhere where you can spray WD-40 or whatever down inside there to clean it out. And I'll go show you that now. Alright, as you can see, I'm at my sink and I've got the shock body. I've also got my Boston stuff that I'm going to spray down in the middle, and that should get some of the dirt out from it. So you just want to spray it all in there. As you can see, some yuck fluid is coming out of there. Just want to spray it all in there. You want to go around the outside because I've got a bit of stuff in my threads, which this helps to get out. And then what you want to do is give it a rinse under the tap and also wash away any of this oil that has fallen in the bowl of the sink. Make sure all this is out. And then what you're going to want to do, obviously turn the tap off, but you want to dry your hands and the shock itself, and then you want to get whatever you use to clean it and then just spray it all on the outside and inside again. And what this does is it prevents the water that you just sprayed on it from rusting it. And then you might ask, well, how are we going to dry it now? And we're going to get some paper towel and then we're going to dry this off with the paper towel instead of washing it with water, because that could cause it to rust. It just depends on what type of water you're using, or you just don't really want it to rust, so just dry it off with a paper towel. Alright, as you can see, I'm back at my table, and you just want to get your shock and get some more paper towel and then just wipe over it, just so there's not whatever you used all over it. That's just making it a lot harder to do everything because it's slippery. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to curl it into a cylinder, and I'm going to put it in here and get all the stuff out that's in the middle like that. in this end a little bit. That should be good for now. So now what you want to do is you want to get your O-ring that you popped out and you want to push it back in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this pin head, not the actual pin, and I'm going to push the side in. As you can see, it is a bit tricky. I think what I might do is put it on the end there and just pop it in. Try using just my finger. Alright, as you can see, it is now back in there, and we can now screw this cap back on. And now what you want to do is get your pliers or whatever, just make sure it's really tight as you can get it, because you don't want any oil to be leaking out of there. Alright, so the next step is to clean the shaft itself. So you just want to get another piece of paper towel and just wipe over it. As you can see, the end there is quite dirty. You just want to go over it. Like that. Just try and clean it as best you can. I think that should be good enough for now. And then what you're going to want to do is just pop this back through in here. There you go, it's coming out the bottom there. And then just pull that through. And you will feel that it is very smooth, or it feels very smooth. So next you want to clean out the lid here. I'm just going to get a corner of paper towel and just clean all the inside here, like this. Do around the edge here. And just try and clean this as best you can, which I think that should be good enough for now. Alright, so once you've done all those steps, you should be right to almost start filling it up. And as you can see, I have cleaned the underside of this off camera, so this part's nice and clean, and yeah, it should be all good to go. So what you want to do first is grab the shock, and you want to put the little thing on the end of it, and this is just going to make it so much easier when you're putting it on later. And sometimes it gets a bit tight, so what you're going to want to do, get another piece of paper towel, put it on there, grab your pliers again, clamp it down, and keep unscrewing it up. Sometimes you might not, well, I'm going to just lift it up a little bit so I can see if it's screwing on or not. As you can see, there's a slight mark there. You just want to screw it up to where that mark is. So that's where you want to put it up to, so when it fully compresses, it can't all just leak out that end there. Like that. So now that's on, we should be able to put the oil in now. You just want to make sure everything looks good inside, everything's all clean, and then you just want to get your oil. I'm going to be using this. Take the cap off, and then just fill it up in the top. As you can see, it's about here, and I can press it all the way. It doesn't leak out. And there are going to be a few bubbles, but I don't really worry about the bubbles because it's going to be so hard to get all the air out of the shock. It's just not worth bothering. So what I like to do is push this all the way up to the top and then screw the cap on. If you want, you can press it on the table. This is just so it doesn't hydrolock itself, which means that, as you can see, it's perfect. It can go all the way up, and if it gets hydrolocked, say if it hydrolocks here, it means you cannot push it up. There's just too much oil in there. So this is the perfect amount for this shock. Then you want to just thread this back up to the top as we thread it down at the start. Then you want to get the spring, put it over the shock again. You want to pull the spring back, then you want to get this piece here and slide it back onto the shock like this, and then just push it on. And as you can see, the shock is all clean and refilled with oil. Wow guys, look at the difference between the two. This is the one we just cleaned, and this is the opposite side. Look how dirty this one is compared to the one we just did. And don't forget, there is a ton of stuff on that part here. There's none there. It's very clean, and on the inside, not sure if you can see, but it's filled to the brim with just dirt and oil and grass and all that, whereas this one is very, very clean, and especially around the shaft and everything. And this one, it doesn't feel like it's got very much dampening, whereas this one's got nice dampening. And it's definitely worth doing the oil on your shocks, not too regularly, but when you think it needs doing, you should do it, because it increases the life of your shocks and it just makes them last a lot longer. Also guys, in the description down below, I'll be putting a link to where you can buy these shocks, and maybe even the front ones, on eBay or Amazon. You can choose which one you want to go to. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.